Good morning. My name is Kevin Ellis, local president of 2338 at the John J. Pershing VA Medical Center in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. This morning, I'm going to talk to you about a COVID-19 settlement agreement between the John J. Pershing VA Medical Center and local 2338. Many of you might recall in February 2020, our nation was hit with COVID, and federal facilities were struggling all over the country and finding ways to help employees keep their employment, keep their paychecks, while also navigate through COVID, which is something which was a pandemic, if you recall, that many of us had never experienced before. So our facility, in addition to to agencies all across the country, was dealing with COVID. Now, the reason why the settlement agreement came about in February 7th of 2020, the secretary or the undersecretary, one or two, I don't recall which one it was right now, developed a memorandum that said employees would be given leave if they had to miss work because of COVID, and they would be given 80 hours of leave. That would not be charged to them, which means that if an employee had COVID and they could not work or they were sent home, they would be given free leave, and that would help cover their paychecks because, as you recall, the economy was in a very terrible state during the time of COVID, especially when it first hit. We realized there was a problem in 2020. There was a couple of issues that arose. If you remember, one of them, the union had their official time taken away, and we've been made to leave the building. In addition to that, um, local agencies was given discretion in how to navigate COVID and the COVID leave. At our facility, the person that was in charge of the COVID was Libby Johnson. Libby Johnson was the associate director. And I don't know how many of you know Libby Johnson, but Libby Johnson is a power hungry narcissist. And what that means is that everything in life revolved around her and what she wanted, and that's all that mattered. So we were not invited to the table. We were told that once COVID ended, we would be invited to the table. We would go back and we would negotiate, and we would go back and we would fix the issues that were broken. Well, COVID ended officially on May 11th of 2023. COVID began on February 7th of 2020. So over a 3-year period, we were wrestling with COVID. After the COVID pandemic had been declared over in May 11th of 2023, we went to the agency and said, hey, we're supposed to negotiate this COVID thing um, now that the pandemic is over. We received an email from either Daniel Carr or Keith Blackstone that said, hey, we're going to negotiate with the union once COVID has ended. The agency reneged on that promise. They reneged on that email and refused to negotiate with the union. So we filed a grievance, moved it to arbitration, and during the arbitration, the agency was still withholding information. They were coming into the arbitration trying to argue a theory that employees had been paid. We asked the arbitrators, which was Marcia Kelleher, we said, Madam Arbitrator, the agency is making a false claim that employees have been paid. The only way to know whether employees have been paid and given the appropriate leave is to look at their time cards and to look at their pay records. The arbitrator told the agency at the time, said, agency, you need to produce the pay records that will demonstrate these employees were given the appropriate COVID leave. If not, I'm going to entertain the adverse inference against you for failing to produce information. I believe the arbitrator said the best information to prove that the employees had, in fact, been compensated, as you state, would be to introduce the pay records. So the agency gave us some of the pay records for the employees. We went through them with the detail, and 99% of the employees had not been provided the appropriate leave. Some of them was counted AWOL. Some of them was counted leave without pay. Some of them was made to use their own annual leave and their own sick leave, even after they were sent home by the agency, and they could work. Now, that creates a couple of problems here. Anytime the agency sends you home, they tell you to go home and you're able to work, they have to give you AA, authorized absence, or administrative leave. Anytime the agency forces you to leave your place of employment, they have to compensate you for that by giving you your leave. That did not happen. We got our hands on some emails from Libby Johnson in which she was telling the managers to make the employees use their earned leave. This was problematic because the employees were not all being treated fairly and the union was not at the table. We found that the agency was taking single mothers that had 2 and 3 children and telling them, you have to go home. You've been to a location where I think there was COVID. We don't think you have COVID, but you need to go home. And was charging these single mothers AWOL, AWOL, charging them AWOL, even though they sent them home and would not give them the COVID leave. I want you to put yourself in a position where you are a single mother or a single dad. You've got children, you've got bills, you're trying to make ends meet, you're doing the very best that you can to get through this period, and your employer sends you home and tell you that they're going to count you AWOL and you're not going to get a paycheck. Can you imagine the amount of stress that employees were undergoing? On top of that, picture in your mind the person that's telling employees they have to go home is half the time at home themselves on telework. They're not even at the facility. They're teleworking. So you can imagine the amount of stress and anxiety that was going on with these employees during this time period. Well, after the arbitration had ended, and before we submitted post-hearing briefs, the union and the agency began to talk about how we could settle the case without having to finish up the arbitration. And we were dealing with a gentleman by the name of Noah Smith, who was representing the agency. Noah Smith notified the union that, hey, if you can give us an example of what the employees' leave reimbursement is going to look like, we will settle the arbitration with you. We sent the agency a couple of employees emails. We sent the agency a couple of emails with the employer, the boss saying, I don't know what to do. I'm going to have to count you AWOL. I don't have any instructions. And that's what's going to happen. And we also had examples of where the agency had given one employee COVID leave and the other employee they did not give him COVID leave for the exact same reasons. So there was a lot of disparate treatment happening there. And we believe that disparate treatment was happening and sometimes because of race, sometimes because of gender, sometimes because of union status, and sometimes because of friends or family. There was a lot of nefarious reasons why the agency gave some employees the COVID leave and didn't give COVID leave to the other people. We learned that the agency developed their own form, their own template form, in which they gave to the employees to request the COVID leave. and the form was missing all of the relevant information. Once again, the agency withheld information from the union when talking with the employees and withheld the information from the employees themselves. They withheld it and didn't give it to them. So, in order to settle it, Noah Smith sent an email to the arbitrator that said, "We have reached an agreement. Send us your invoice." We The agreement was is that we will produce the names and the dates and the times that the employees were owed to leave and the type of leave they should have been given, and we will settle the arbitration. It's a back pay case. The agency was going to be required to give back thousands of hours worth of annual leave and sick leave. They were going to have to reverse AWOLs. They were going to have to reverse leave without pay. And they agreed to it. And we agreed with them to do it. Okay? So I'm going to show you what the COVID agreement looks like so that you would have an idea of what a settlement agreement looks like at the John J. Pershing VA Medical Center. Okay? I'm not going to share my screen with you. Okay. So what you're looking at here, let me figure out how to move this thing out of the way. All right, so what you're looking at here is the matter of arbitration. You have the FMCS case number ending in 07855. The arbitrator was Marsha Kelleher. And then the settlement agreement title is COVID-19 leave. There's a paragraph that talks about the purpose and the consideration. And what it basically says is that the union agrees that we will stop pursuing the grievance and any related matters based upon signing the agreement. The union in Part 2 agrees to a withdrawal and waiver that by signing this agreement that we voluntarily withdraw from pursuing forward and we're waiving any request for attorney fees. That's a big deal. This is the back pay case. This is going to probably cost the agency anywhere from this was a 6 to 7 day hearing. It was probably going to cost them anywhere about, I don't know, $60,000 to $80,000 in attorney fees alone, if not more, because of the gravity of the case. Okay, so not having to pay attorney fees would be a big benefit to the taxpayer. This means the taxpayers don't have to foot a bill that's going to unnecessarily by paying the attorney fees. And them fees, I told you 60 to 80,000. It'll probably be somewhere about 80 to 100,000. Quite a bit in attorney fees. Now, we get into paragraph 3 where it says agency and union obligations. The agency agrees that they will reimburse earned leave, annual and sick leave, and replace it with authorized absence or administrative leave for relevant periods during the pandemic from February 7, 2020 through May 11, 2023. Okay? And this will be contingent upon the union providing accurate and relevant information, including bulletins, guidance, any memorandums, safety and leave forms, and the master agreement. We agreed to it. Okay. The agency also agreed that once the union submits the information to them, within 45 calendar days, they would restore the employee's leave. Okay. That's what Roman numeral paragraph 2 means. That's what Roman numeral paragraph 3 means. And that's what Roman numeral paragraph 4 means. Simply means that within 45 days of the union giving them the information, the employees will be given their annual leave and sick leave back, and the AWOLs and leave without pays will be reversed and rescinded. Okay. The union obligations would be, and they are, we agreed to voluntarily withdraw from the Step 3 agreements. Okay. We agreed to do that. The union also agreed that we will provide the information to the agency that was supplied to us during the arbitration. It's important that we keep the information contained to what was presented during the arbitration. It would be unfair to the agency to put in information that was not relevant and not presented during the actual arbitration. That would not be fair at all. So we will not be doing that. We're going to be giving information that was submitted to them during the arbitration, which would consist of names, dates, times, type of leave the employees were entitled to. Okay. Paragraph 2 just says that the information will include the employees' names, which date, times, and periods. All it really does. Once we get the agreement signed, it says the union will have 3 months to provide the information from the date of the settlement agreement. Once it's signed, it will not take us 3 months to get the agency the information. It may take us at the most 1 month. It may take us 30 days. Okay, and we have it to the agency very quickly. Paragraph 5 is really kind of a repeat of an earlier paragraph. Don't know why it's in there again, but it's a repeat that just says the union will not be seeking any type of monetary damages beyond the employees getting their annual leave and sick leave given back to them. Some of them may incur uh, interest because some of them, when you reverse annual leave and sick leave, you end up paying employees the wages that they should have been paid. That always comes with interest as part of the Back Pay Act. Release of liability, the agency is saying here that, hey, by signing the agreement, that they are not admitting that they were liable for not treating employees right, correctly. You know, I really don't care a whole lot about that. It's my opinion that going into the settlement agreement shows a substantial amount of liability because we're going to settle it and not move forward and give the employees what they're owed. That's not a big deal to me. The next paragraph says that the agreement can only be modified by mutual agreement of the parties. Okay. The next paragraph is no admission of liability, kind of similar to what we just had. The past practice simply means that this agreement will not serve as a past practice for any future agency actions that the union might agree to. We have a voluntary clause in there where each party agrees to enter into this agreement knowingly and willingly, and that we do it out of all with all due sincerity at heart. Okay. The servability clause: if any provision of the agreement is determined to be invalid, the remaining parts of the agreements will remain in full force and effect. We don't sign settlement agreements that are not enforceable. Both the union and the agency go through the settlement agreements. We make sure all the language is correct. We make sure everything is like it should be, and we sign the agreement, right? The effective date of the agreement will be the date the agreement is signed. The union is ready to sign the agreement right now, today, and get it done and over with. Because employees are needing their annual leave, they're needing their sick leave back, they're needing their pay corrected. We have veterans, we have single moms, we have veteran uh, employees who are ready to get this done on their behalf, and it's very simple. Now, if you want to encourage the agency to go ahead and sign the agreement, speed it up and be done with it, it's two ways you can do that. One, you can email the interim medical center director, Fabian Graspy, which is information is right here. You can email Mr. Graspy and say, Mr. Graspy, go ahead and sign the agreement, get it done, take care of your employees. You may call them on the telephone at 573-778-4690, which is the telephone number to his office. Or you can drop by the hospital and say, Mr. Director, go ahead and sign the agreement and get it done on behalf of the employees. This is important. This boosts your morale. It shows that you care about your employees. It shows that your employees are an important part of your organization and that you value their service, you value their commitment, and you stand by doing the right thing. Okay? So this is not difficult to do. This is something that we can have signed today. Um, I'm ready to sign it today because Noah Smith had told the arbitrator that we had reached an agreement months ago before Fabian Graspy ever came up on the scene. So the agreement had already been agreed to in terms of what it was going to look like, what it was going to be. We just had to put it on paper. So we are ready to sign it on behalf of the employees. They are asking repeatedly about when they're going to get the agreement signed, when they're going to get their annual leave back and stuff along those lines. They have family members they need to take care of. They have some of the employees need to take FMLA. They need the leave given back to them. Some of them are wanting to take vacations. Some of them are needing this leave just to be able to get a break and be able to rest and gain and regain their composure from long hours of work. Very simple to do, not hard to do at all. We can have it signed in less than 1 minute. All right. So if you want to help me convince the director to go ahead and get the agreement signed, these are three ways he can be contacted: by email. That is a government email that's available to the public. Once again, the email address is fabian.graspy@va.gov. Telephone number is 573-778-4690. Or you can drop by the hospital and ask me with the director and say, hey, sir, sign the agreement on behalf of the employees and get this done. This is what makes you a choice employer within the community. Stealing your leave, stealing your pay, withholding information from you, withholding your benefits from you, does not make you a choice employer. It makes you a chance employer. And it further demonstrates that you have an inability and a lack of concern to care about the people who care for the veterans and who ensure that your work um, is being done in a timely manner. All right, so I'm going to conclude the video right now, but that is an example of what our COVID agreement is going to look like, almost to the letter. That's exactly what we agreed to. The language and the terms is what we'd agreed to when we told the arbitrator we have an agreement. Okay, so God bless you, and you have a good day. Oh, real quickly, if you want to contact me, I can be contacted at my email address, either one of them, kevin.ellis@va.gov. Okay. The other one I can be contacted at is at kce40@yahoo.com. So let me put my contact information on here as well. Okay. In case you wanted to contact me. That's one email address. The other one is going to be kce40@yahoo.com. And you may also contact me by cell phone number. Okay. Those are three ways that I can be contacted, highlighted there in yellow. Highlighted here in blue is ways that the medical center director can be contacted. This is a settlement agreement. It's not a top secret document. There's nothing in it that exposes any type of HIPAA violations or any type of privacy violations. This is a government document spent at taxpayer money for and on behalf of the employees that we represent. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Let's get it done. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. And once again, God bless you. And thank you for watching, listening, and attending. Thank you.